Now, the president was asked by a reporter whether Prime Minister Mark Carney could say anything to have those U.S. tariffs on Canada lifted, and the president said flatly no. What is your reaction to that?
I'm not surprised. And no, I don't think anyone should have realistically thought that Mark Carney or whoever would be able to walk in there and say anything or do one thing that would get the president to change his mind. What's going to change his mind is actual facts on the ground, actual dollars leaving Americans' pockets, shelves being empty, jobs being lost. So I think, unfortunately for the Americans, they're going to have to feel some of this pain and when the rubber hits the road. But I think we need to be, even though we can't say any magic words, we need to be doing the right things. And I think showing up the White House, being strong, being persistent, and making sure that we're a strong economy and that we're not seen as bending or breaking, I think means that when they start to feel that pain, they'll realize that the only option for them is to come back to the table and to remove the tariffs and to rebuild our trading relationship. And I think that's the long-term vision forward.
Okay. And now on tariffs, you represent the business community. Can you tell us a bit about what impact those tariffs have had on BC businesses?
Yeah, I mean we're a border town here in Langley.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a border crossing. We have a ton of manufacturers that export down to the states. Obviously, they're impacted with the. It was beneficial to see some of the CUSMA, the USMCA exemptions. So there's a road there. There is a path for to get to remove the tariffs if you're compliant to CUSMA, and a lot of businesses are doing that. But the real pain in this is just the amount, and I hear it on a daily basis from my members. The amount of time and energy and oxygen and money being spent navigating this, getting your trade brokers to figure out what's on the list, what's not on the list, how can you move things forward. I've got members who have been preloading inventory for months at a huge carrying cost. Those are all that energy and those dollars would all be better spent growing their businesses, paying their employees, innovating their products. But instead, we're all trying to figure out what's happening, what was tweeted, what was changed, what was said on one newscast that they didn't seem to know that was being said on the other newscast. They can't get their house in order, which makes it very hard for businesses to plan on what they're doing. So no, definitely the manufacturers in our community, we have a lot of manufacturers, food processors, they're concerned, it impacts them. And then of course we're now in a trade war. So we have a lot of businesses, frankly, just as many that I hear from, who get inputs from the states, who have maybe there's a bolt, maybe there's a joist, maybe there's a piece of machinery or equipment that they can't really readily just find somewhere else that they get from Oregon and they get from North Carolina, and now those are being tariffed and increasing their costs here. So really, it's whether you export, you're impacted. If you import things, you're impacted, and then if this goes on for too much longer and we have any economic contraction, well, then we're all impacted. So, and it's on both sides of the border. So really what we need to be doing here in Canada is make sure that we've got our powder dry. We're actually pulling the trigger on some of these internal trade barriers. We lots of talk. Let's see us actually doing that. We're actually figuring out how do we build our own energy infrastructure. And then hopefully when they start to see the pain on their side, we'll be there to have them come back to the table and we'll be sitting at that table from a position of strength.